beginning a new segment right here on Great Day Live with an old buddy of ours, here to school us on the happenings at U of L, and some of them taking us to new heights, like this first story from our good friend Mark Hebert, now, of course, who works at U of L.
And Mark's going to join us each Monday, and today's story is on astrosurgery. Did I say that correctly? Astrosurgery.
Wait, and did you have to take a class to explain this?
No, it's not that complicated.
It isn't? Okay.
No, it's not that complicated. But first, thanks for having me on.
So
glad
This is gonna be kind of fun.
And if I do sneeze, I want you to know it was that groundhog.
It's not
you.
Well, you ate half your finger. I did notice that.
Yeah, we got that back in its little compartment real quick after that segment. Well, tell us about today.
Okay, today, what's going on today? We're talking about astrosurgery, as Terry mentioned. And so what happens if NASA sends a rocket to Mars or someplace and an astronaut comes down with gets cut or needs some surgery? What are you going to do? They can't come back.
Right.
So we've got a contract from NASA, the University of Louisville does, to figure out how to do surgery in space. So let's watch that package right now.
That's a researcher and some students from the University of Louisville floating in near zero gravity aboard a NASA aircraft, more than 24,000 feet above the Earth.
There were times when I thought, okay, I'm upside down, and I looked down and I'm actually just standing kind of like this maybe. So your orientation, your perspective is completely thrown off, and it does make working very difficult.
What are they doing? Well, they're figuring out how to do surgery in case a future astronaut suffers a bad injury on the way to the moon, Mars, or a space colony.
You're so far away you can't turn around and come back to Earth to provide that type of health care.
George Pantelis' research is funded by NASA. His students practice in the hallway at U of L's Cardiovascular Innovation Institute, a hallway that's the same width as a NASA craft. They're working with the same scalpels and instruments a doctor might use to stitch up an astronaut inside a specially designed surgery bubble.
One of the things that we're looking at is coming up with a chamber to control an operative site or a site of trauma so that it doesn't become contaminated by objects floating around the spacecraft.
The U of L research team has flown 14 research missions out of Houston on the Zero-G aircraft. Fourth-year medical school student Morgan Krieger has flown on 8 of those missions.
Maybe one day be a astronaut surgeon, who knows.
What the U of L students, Pantelis, and NASA have discovered is surgery can be done in space, and the research has applications here on Earth.
We know from the experience on submarine crews that every year about 3 or 4 corpsmen do have to be evacuated from submarines to go for surgical treatment of appendicitis when medical treatment has not been effective. And there's every reason to believe that something like that could happen on the way to Mars. So we want to be ready.
That is fascinating.
Isn't that cool?
I know
That
they've
really
been able to
is.
do some remote surgery, but I wonder, since we're talking about that kind of distance, what sort of response you would get, if you were performing surgery on someone in space.
Now you're getting way over my head, Terry.
Just think about that. There would be a delay, and then you don't know. It's like,
Well, they're talking about how to do it up in space in zero gravity, so the blood isn't floating around in the atmosphere and stuff, and they got to keep it in a compartment. So, I mean, it's really interesting.
And doing
NASA,
it in the hall, because that kind of is the amount of space
Right,
that they
that's
would have
correct.
as well. So, okay, this is one thing,
Right.
and I said, I didn't know they were doing that
Well,
at
little
U of
do you
L, and
know.
that's the whole point.
That's the whole point of this segment we're going to be doing with you guys every Monday, is to talk about things that are going on at the University of Louisville that you may not know about. Everybody knows about the athletic teams, but nobody knows about what else is going on at the university.
That you're able to get those U of L patches on our spacesuits. Like
you want one like that when you're flying?
We do.
I would want our NASA astronauts to wear them.
We